Hi and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to hit subscribe. Every week I have different practices that are released on Sundays, and they vary from vinyasa to yin, from beginner all the way through up to advanced practices. So whatever your flavor, you can probably find it here. Also, at the end of this practice, make sure you leave a comment below if you have any suggestions or if you just really enjoyed it. We'll go ahead and get started with today's flow, and that is a yin practice. So it's going to be slow and longer holds. We'll really work into the joints. Today's flow is more back friendly. We will have most of the poses actually lying on our back. So that's where we will get started. If you'll come to join me on your mat, you can just roll down and come onto your back. From here, we'll allow the feet to come out wide, so they're almost at the width of your mat, and then allow the knees to just drop inward and rest against each other. From here, if it feels good, you can have your arms open and alongside your body, or if you prefer, you can just gently allow the hands to rest over the navel, just gently on top of the stomach. And that's where I'm going to leave mine for today as we start the practice. Maybe allow the eyes to gently close and then begin to feel your breath. If the hands are resting gently on the stomach, you can start to feel the wave of the air in and out of the body, the gentle rise and the fall of the stomach as the air travels down through the lungs, filling up the bottom of the lungs. And on every exhale, feel yourself completely empty, relax, and sinking down deeper into the mat. We start with the knees together and resting gently against each other today, just to give the back a little break. This is a very nice and gentle pose to always replace anything where you may feel a little pull on the lower back. This allows you to get more of a chance to connect the low back with the mat. A lot of our postures today will be very grounded. We will be connected with our mat, so you can continue to think of yourself sinking deeply into the earth. Bring your attention to every connection where the back body meets the mat. Feel the energy rising up from the earth and into the body as you take your inhales. And then with every exhale, relax and soften. Go ahead and separate the knees. And from here we have more than one option, as usual. You can leave the sole of the left foot on the mat and draw that right knee in towards the chest. And just hold it here. If you'd like, you can also extend that left leg out long. And we're in our half wind releasing pose. No pulling or trying to intentionally make the pose deeper by pulling or stretching extra by using the force or the strength in your arms. Focus more on allowing the heaviness of the arms and the shoulders to draw that knee back and towards the mat even further. And with every exhale, feel that heaviness start to grow. Feel the stretch in the right hip start to deepen. Next, we'll take a little hamstring stretch. Now, I recommend starting to draw that left foot in so that the left leg is bent. And then from here, take the hands and interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. And we're going to extend the right leg up towards the sky. The knee can be deeply bent. We aren't trying to make the leg overly straight. Again, we want to use the weight in the shoulders and the arms and the upper body to draw that right thigh towards the chest. It does not have to be touching. We're just feeling the strength in the back of the right leg through the hamstrings as we pull the right leg down and towards the mat. Now, if this feels good, you can stay right here. If you want to back off a little bit more, you'd probably want to bend that right knee even more deeply. If this is fine where you're at, you can also think about extending the left leg so it's once more just flat onto the mat. And remember, as you hold this pose for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, you will feel your body start to deepen and sink into it a little further. So if you started with your knee bent, maybe after 3 or 4 deep breaths, you might feel like you can take it a little bit more deeply. Practicing yin is about riding that edge of the stretch so that we're not wholly uncomfortable the entire time, but that you can hold the stretch and allow the body to relax into it, keeping other areas of the body soft. And allow yourself to gently open. Here we're opening through the back of that right hamstring and of course through the right hip. Wherever you're at, find your stillness. You can make slight adjustments to deepen as you hold the pose a little bit longer, but once you find your edge, stay with the stillness and use the breath. You can start to bend that right knee. Draw the left leg in once more so that the sole of the foot is flat onto the mat, and we'll place the right ankle on top of the left knee for our reclined figure 4. From here, make sure that the right foot is flexed, and you can stay with the left foot flat on the floor, or if you feel like you're ready to deepen into that outer side of the right hip, allow yourself to draw that left knee in. Either take the hands and interlace the fingers behind the left thigh in drawing it in, or you can also take them in front of the left shin. And remember, we are holding this for several breaths. Allow the upper body to relax. And feel the arms become heavy, and that weight draws the left leg in just a little more closely every millimeter. Although it may be ever so slightly perceptible, feel and imagine that left leg coming just a little more closely towards the body. At the same time, you can have the right elbow pressing into that inside of the right thigh. And that will most likely just naturally happen as you draw that right leg in a little bit more deeply. Notice the feeling in the outside of the right glutes. Check in with the face and the jaw and the forehead. Make sure that the muscles are relaxed and falling softly. On the next inhale, slowly allow that left foot to plant onto the mat once more. Keep the right leg where it is on top of the left, but we're going to allow that right knee to slide so it's directly on top of the left knee. And from here, you can either take the hands as you start to bend from the hips and draw the legs in. You can take the hands behind that left thigh, or on top of the shins, or to really deepen this reclined shoelace pose, you can grab the outsides of the right and the left foot with your hands. And from here, just allow the feet to widen and open as you notice that the knees are still vertically stacked. Choose your version of the posture and we'll hold and use the breath. Send the inhale all the way down through the back of the spine, traveling to the outside of the right glute and the right hip. Allow the exhale to soften through the body, to feel yourself relax, and to join with those connections of the back body to the mat. Slowly release the feet, and we have again a couple more options. We can keep the legs crossed, and we'll start there and see how it feels, but we're going to take a spinal twist. So lift the hips up just an inch and then place them over towards the right so the hips feel slightly out of the line, but the rest of the body is in a straight line. From here, allow the knees to fold over towards the left. So if you kept the cross in the legs, you have a fairly deep twist working for you. If that does not feel good, feel free to completely untwist the legs and allow that right leg just to stack on top of the left for your usual spinal twist. The left hand can rest on top of the outside of that right thigh, and then feel free to take the shape in your right arm if you prefer a T shape or maybe cactus. Whatever works for you here. As you inhale, feel the body expand and create space, and then with every exhale, maybe you feel the knees drop a little more closely towards the earth. Maybe that right shoulder connects and relax more deeply into the mat. Allow yourself to unwind, unravel those legs. Allow both of the feet to come to the mat, and we'll just take a couple of windshield wipers from left and right. Give that hip a little breathing room. And we have a whole other side to do. So we will continue on with our left side. From here, come to stillness. And then you can start with the right, keeping the right sole of the foot on the mat as you draw that left knee in towards the chest for your half wind release pose. Feel where you're at here, and if you would like to, you can continue to straighten that right leg all the way down. And I'll probably sound like a broken record, but again, let's not force the pose, but allow the weight in the upper body to help you open into the joint, to deepen into that left hip. Bring your attention to the back body and the connection that you're making with yourself and the mat. Feeling grounded and supported. As you draw your navel in, almost like it's trying to reach the backbone on every exhale. From here, draw that right foot in again. So you have a bent knee, a great place to start. And then we'll take that hamstring stretch on the left side. So now interlace the fingers to the back of the left thigh. And then allow the knee to have a slight bend. We're not trying to get extra straight and really force that hamstring. We're really just waking it up and trying to ease into it. And you can stay right here, keeping a bend in the right knee, maybe taking a deeper bend into the left knee. However your hamstring feels like it's ready for this morning. And then if you want to go deeper, by all means, straighten that right leg. But your focus on the left side is allowing that left thigh to maybe draw a little bit more closely towards the left chest. At the same time, feel yourself expand throughout that left hip. Remember, as we hold these poses for longer than our usual vinyasa flow, it can be easy to allow the mind to wander. So please come back to the breath. Use the inhale and the exhale to allow your mind to relax and to give yourself the space so that you aren't bombarded with thoughts outside of your practice, which is right here and right now on the mat. Start to draw that right knee in, and then you can start to release the hold on the left leg. Cross that left ankle over the top of the right, back into your supine figure 4 fold. Either keep what you have right here and allow the right leg to, or the right foot to stay on the mat, or you can draw the legs in. Take a hold either the inside thigh of the right leg, or interlace the fingers on the outside of the right shin. Keep the left foot flexed. Allow the weight of the upper body to draw that right knee in a little bit further. This is quite intense. We generally are all very tight in the hips. I love doing these poses, especially this entire sequence is terrific right before bed. After a long day, generally we have achy backs, hips that are much tighter than we realize. And you'll find that you might get a little bit better quality sleep just by allowing the energy in the body to move more freely and to loosen things up. It's very normal to feel one hip to be quite more tight than the other. Nothing to worry about. Our bodies are generally one-sided, and you feel something more in one area than you will in the opposite. One more breath here. And then release that right leg down. Allow it to touch down towards the mat. And then that left knee will slide directly on top of the right. And take your version of Shoelace Pose. So you can either just bend at the hips, maybe take the hands to the back of the thighs and draw the legs in. You can even just take the hands on the top or the outside of the shins and draw them in this way. As sometimes the feet can be a little more difficult to take a hold of for most of us. The outside of the feet, if they are available to you, you can take a hold with your hands and then start to draw them down towards the earth. Shoelace pose is very intense on both of the hips. Really focus on your breath. You may notice sounds from your environment. Here it is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit or approximately 0 Celsius. And we're getting rain and we're getting snow at the same time. But I also hear birds outside the window, so it is quite the spring day we have going on here. You can slowly release the feet. Allow that right foot to touch the mat, and we're going to take that spinal twist. If you would like to keep the full cross in the legs, by all means do so. Otherwise, you can just stack the left knee on top of the right. Wherever you're at, though, for either version, let's start by shifting the hips just an inch or two towards the left to make space for the spine as we roll over towards the right. Feel yourself open through the chest. You should have a nice rotation through the core. And just allow yourself to relax into the pose. On the next inhale, let's unravel. Bring the feet back towards the mat, untwist the legs, and we'll take a couple more windshield wipers, going from the left towards the right. Maybe feeling some blood flow through that left leg again. And then from here, we're going to take a hold of the back of the thighs, and however you want, you can rock back and forth, or just slowly push yourself up to a seated position. And then we're going to come through that seated position to come onto our bellies for a Sphinx pose. So bellies onto the mat. The elbows are a couple of inches in front of the shoulder. And just to show you what I mean, we don't want the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. You'll feel yourself actually get more tense through the upper body and into the back. Make a little bit of space for yourself and have the elbows out in front of you. The fingertips are facing forward, and then the legs or the feet are open and almost as wide as the mat behind you, so you make some good space for your lower back. We'll hold Sphinx for a few breaths. You can close your eyes in your Sphinx. If you do so, just remind yourself to not allow the head to fall. Keep your internal gaze looking forward. And feel the chest shining upward. We'll take one more breath here. Go ahead and take the hands directly underneath the shoulders, and we'll push ourselves up and back onto a seated position, and then swing those legs out to the side, and then bring them around in front of you for a staff pose. In your staff pose, we'll just sit up tall, inhale the arms up, and then exhale, fold forward. Now, in this seated forward fold, or Paschimottanasana, we are going to be more rounded in the back. So you don't need to think about stretching and staying long and straight. Just allow yourself to start the fold at the hips and then just round over with the back and relax into your forward fold. You may enjoy having a pillow or a cushion underneath you. Sometimes it's really nice to have that support so that you can just allow the neck to relax fully. But wherever you're at, allow the forearms to rest onto the mat. And if you need to prevent yourself from pulling or making yourself get too far into the pose, I suggest having the palms upward on the mat as a reminder that we're here just to relax. Allow the head to feel heavy, and then let the body slowly deepen into the pose. Slowly start to use the hands to push yourself upright. And from here, you might want to scoot your butt in towards the center of the mat a little bit. And we will roll onto our backs once more as we start to finish out our sequence in our legs up the wall pose. If you do have a wall space available to you, that's great. Go ahead and take the practice there. To end, you can also just allow the legs to come straight into the air and allow yourself to relax. Arms can remain at your side. Maybe open them up a little bit more widely to take up space as you would in a traditional Shavasana. And we will use this legs at the wall pose as our Shavasana to start to close out the practice. As As we enter the final phase of the practice, take note of the space in the body. Move from the toes to the backs of the legs, all the way up to the back of the hamstrings, the thighs, and the hips and the glutes. Note the back body, the back of the shoulders and the upper arms, and the neck. Feel the difference that you may have in your body now from when we started. Whether you feel stronger, more open, if you feel more warmth throughout the body, perhaps a little bit more energized, or some may feel a little bit more mellow. It kind of depends on where you're at in your day. You can either stay with your legs up the wall, especially if you're assisted. If you are unassisted, you may want to bend the knees, draw the knees in towards the chest, and give yourself a big hug. You can roll side to side and massage the back body. If you would like to continue in a Shavasana with your fully reclined Shavasana, you may. Or with your legs up a wall, assisted. Whenever you are ready to come out of your Shavasana, go ahead and roll onto your side and come back into a comfortable cross-legged position. We'll inhale the arms up, look up towards the sky, and draw the hands down through heart center. And slightly tuck the chin, feel the stretch along the back side of the neck. One deep inhale through the nose and exhale. As always, thanks for joining me during this practice today. I hope you join me every single week. If you can, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Take care and make it a great day. Bye.